seat up. Yes. All right. Good morning and welcome to this edition of Slow Money Blues. And this definitely is the first step to solving your SMB. My name is Doug, retired U.S. Marine and two-time combat veteran turned entrepreneur at your service. Today's episode is Vocal Victor. Yep, y'all probably saying, you know what, isn't today Wednesday? It's Wednesday, I know it is, but yesterday I had an appointment that I just could not pass up, and I had to do it. And of course, I can't be in two places at one time, at least not live. So guess what? We decided to go ahead and do it at the same time, just a different day, but we'll be back on track next Tuesday. So if you have any questions, you know what to do. Just, post them on all of our social media, IG, Facebook, and Twitter using hashtag Slow Money Blues. Super excited about today's show. Today, we're going to be talking about three ways to become a better communicator. And while I'm telling you this, I might want to become a better communicator myself. So being a better communicator and then, presenting two very different things. But I'm a little parched. That's why I'm a little tongue-tied. So let me take a little sip of water here. Nothing like doing anything live. And what's even better than that is doing live from the comfort of your own home. Just a little sidebar here. You all know that those Manning brothers, right? They're killing the game. I love them because they was like, forget going somewhere else and traveling and getting on the road. We're just going to have MannyCast, and I'm going to broadcast from the comfort of my own home. It's awesome. And so that's exactly what I'm doing too. I'm in my beautiful home in my basement in my studio. It's great. So we're going to be talking about 3 ways to become a better communicator. But before we jump into today's episode, Vocal Victor, I have 3 questions that I ask you every episode, every show. I ask you these 3 questions. Did you do your homework? Now, what were you supposed to do? Well, last week, what you were supposed to do is write a letter to your future self. I tell you, I did that many years ago, and I read it quite often. And believe it or not, I've actually modified it. One of the things, what's amazing about being a lifelong learner and being an entrepreneur is that sometimes in this journey we call life, our thinking and our perspective is very different when we were, say, maybe 2, 3, 5 years younger. And it really is, your perspective changes because your experience you've had an experience which has exposed you to something which opens up your understanding and opens up more possibilities. The one thing that I'm always adamant about preaching on this particular show is I preach and teach how to build, launch, and grow your own personal freedom success system. And basically the moves that I'm making in my life right now is all about helping me create more opportunities for myself and for others. And so if you missed my one episode about crazy crypto, you got to go back and watch that show, watch that episode. But because I actually dove head first in understanding everything I could and learning everything I could about crazy crypto, and this is just a little aside, I'm invested in a hedge fund. The hedge fund is paying me very, very well. Well, in doing that, what it did is it opened me up to the possibility of opening and starting a bank. Not only that, but also starting a hedge fund. And that's what I'm going to do in about 18 months. That's definitely on my calendar. So right now we're in October of 2022. So before 2022, so early to before mid 2024, that process should be well underway. Hopefully we will secure our license and have our bank open. Now, I will tell you that was nowhere in my future before I dove head first into crypto. And so that's what I'm going to do. But hey, look, enough about me. But we're always kind of talking about your homework. Write a letter to your future self. I didn't add that tidbit about, hey, look, I'm going to start a bank and a hedge fund. I didn't do that. But my letter to my future self that I wrote many years ago, it was broad enough and epic enough that it really allows me to be exposed to many, many opportunities for myself and for others. So question number 2, did you say your morning mantra? If you didn't, it's your opportunity to do it right now. And it's really easy, about 39 to 40 words. I want you to do it along with me. Say I, state your full name. Take 100%. That's 100% responsibility and accountability for my decisions and actions. I refuse to blame others. If I do, I give away all of my power, authority, and power given to me by God. Those powerful words right there about the accountability and responsibility for your actions and decisions is so powerful, because so often we just give that away because we look out the window and we say it's everybody else's fault. But if you look into your smartphone and if you do a video of yourself and tell yourself, I am in control of my decisions and my actions. I am in control of how I respond to things that are presented to me. And it's so empowering. And after you say that enough time, you begin to believe that and walk in that, you fully realize that you are no longer a puppet. And it's awesome. And that's another part of this freedom journey that you're on. And then, of course, did you listen to the Monday sneak peek preview? A little tongue tied there. So if you didn't, don't worry, because we're going to actually talk about that again today. We're going to be talking about Vocal Victor. This is all about 3 ways you can basically 3 ways in which you can become a better communicator. And those are all different types of communication, but I'm talking about the verbal portion of the presentation aspect of it, about how to become a better communicator. So once again, we have to pay those bills. So who's been riding with us all of 2022? Well, guess what? It's linky.com and bignetdomain.com. If you have not taken advantage of this unique opportunity, I want you to do it today. There's no credit card required, 7 free day trial offer. You get all the bells and whistles, no holds barred, right? So that's linky.com, spelled Liinky. If you're a solopreneur, dadpreneur, mompreneur, or a side hustler, or a promoter, you want to go and get your link. It's one link with unlimited possibilities. It's super awesome. If you were dropping an ebook, if you had an event, whatever it is that you want to do, is really, really cool. And the best part about it is it actually looks well on all platforms. So whether you have a tablet, a desktop, a laptop, or even your smartphone, you are going to show up and you're going to show out. Now, our next sponsor is bignetdomain.com, where the net just got bigger. I cannot believe it, but people still have a digital dilemma. They don't know how to build a website. They don't know how to do e-commerce. They don't know how to do email marketing. Well, guess what? BigNet Domain has you covered. They have hundreds and hundreds of templates, no matter what your niche may be. Plus, they integrate that if you wanted to say, I want to have e-commerce and start selling my products or my services. They have an appointment feature on there. It's super awesome. And the best part about it today is that if you go and you purchase today, use promo code BIGNET, and you'll get a 10% savings upon checkout. And, it gets better. If you buy a domain name, hosting for that domain name is free for 1 entire year. You cannot beat that. So big shout out and kudos to our sponsors, linky.com, one link, unlimited possibilities, and bignetdomain.com, where the net just got bigger. Now, this is the question, and it's actually a poll question. Are you a talkative person? Well, you probably say, well, if you ask me that question, if I ask myself that question, I would absolutely say, yes, I am a talkative person. But if I told you that when I was very young, I used to be very shy and very introverted, and the one thing that inspired me to start opening my mouth and talking was girls. And so that was my motivation. That was my inspiration. So I started learning how to become a better communicator. Then I learned how to harness that power of communication. And I started investing in myself and listening to other people communicate, and which kind of was what got me to this point where I am right now. And even when I'm not in front of a camera, I am always communicating and working on my craft. When Victor was growing up, he was told he talked too much. Maybe that's you. But Victor did not let that discourage him. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of haters out there. They want to hate on your gift or your communication, being a talkative person. Don't let them do it. So to give him an outlet, Victor joined the high school debate team, and they won 3 championships. So much for talking too much, right? But Victor was just getting started. Let's get personal. If someone tells you that you talk too much, you might be just like Victor. By the way, Victor started an award-winning podcast and has fans all over the world. Well, I want to say, Victor, thank you for talking too much. And what are we talking about today? We're talking about 3 ways to become a better communicator. So in becoming a better communicator, the first way to become a better communicator is practice. And when I say practice, I mean practice relentlessly. And I remember, this is what's amazing, kind of my own journey. I remember when I enrolled in Northern Virginia Community College, and I remember we had to write papers, and I was like, man, I'm a horrible writer. Listen to what I just said. I just spoke something over my own life. I said, I'm a horrible writer. I hate writing. It's one of my least favorite things to do. Well, now it's one of my most favorite things to do of all time. I write all types of stuff, all types of content about all types of subject matter. I love communicating. So what are the chances of you getting better if you just wrote all the time? Well, the chances are like 100%. And what are the chances of you getting better in written communication if you never write? Well, it's probably like 0%. Now, some people are gifted in this area of communication, right? You have had phenomenal orders. And really, they even have this thing called, what is it called? Like the wine toasters or something. You know what I'm talking about, right? I can't really recall the name but basically it teaches people how to communicate, how to have presence, how to engage an audience, right? And then how to move that audience, right? And how basically when you are communicating, if you're talking about a subject matter, how to look at it from multiple points of view, and then to allow that audience to make their own decision, because that's what I always want my audience to do, is to arrive at their own decision, right? But practice. So that's the first way, is work on that written communication. But long before you have the written communication, you're going to have that mental communication. Like, what do I want to say? How do I want to say it? Who do I want to say it to? This is why so many people from a written perspective are challenged when it comes to writing a book. What I discovered is that when writing, it's like, hey, you're telling a story. And what I've learned about communication is that stories take people on a journey. And if you can allow people to see themselves in your story, it so resonates with them. They're like, man, I really get that. Like when I tell people like, hey, I'll say something like, I'll be engaged in conversation with people. In fact, the appointment I was telling you about, which is why I didn't do the show yesterday and I'm doing it today, I was engaged in a conversation with a gentleman who was actually coming to perform the service in my home. And I said, I say, how long have you been doing this? And he said, I've been doing this for 5 years. I was like, wow. And this is what I always ask people, just to satisfy my curiosity. I said, what do you really want to do? And he said, I want to make passive income. I was like, I said, interesting. I said, I know what you want, and I've never met you. In fact, I know what every human being on this planet that is of age and understands what I'm about to say wants. They want only 2 things, believe it or not. They want freedom and they want a better life. You can't show me one person that if you said you want freedom, they'll say no. They'll say absolutely they do. And then, do you want a better life? They'll say absolutely I want. Which is why people are always what we commonly call is leveling up. They want freedom and they want a better life. And he quickly agreed with me because he said he wanted passive income. But I was like, is that really what you want? And he paused because he said, I don't. He said, I don't want to work either. Freedom. He says, I do not want to be tied to the 3 to 7, 4 to 8, or 9 to 5 grind. And so because I've mastered that and I understand what people are thinking about like all the time, these are at the top of it's in the forefront of their minds every day. When people get up, we're making the decision to get up and go to work, people get up all the time and say, man, I really don't want to go to work, right? And so I've tapped in on that. So I'm able to connect with them immediately. And then I'm able to hone in on and know exactly how to solve that with just a couple of words. What you really want is freedom and a better life, right? And like, yeah, no one has ever disagreed with me about that. And I try to keep, like I said, they got to be able to see themselves in this. So then you kind of go on and you say, well, if you were free, like you didn't have to worry about this thing called money, what would you do? Man, then people start dreaming. They start like, oh my goodness. It's very interesting because I have a dear friend of mine. Her name is Rebecca. I won't tell you her last name, but Rebecca, if you're watching this podcast, you know exactly who you are. And I remember I was doing a little coaching with her, and I said, well, hey, look, what's your dream vacation? And she was like, the first thought was like, well, I only get 2 weeks because she wasn't free yet. I only get 2 weeks, right? And I was like, your dream vacation, like you don't, money's not an issue, time is not an issue. What's your dream vacation? When I just basically communicated those two constraints and removed those two constraints, she was like, oh, I will go to Hawaii for like, man, she just lit up. I was like, wow. 2 little just constraints removed. These are mental constraints that all of us have on us. And until someone that you meet that's further along in the journey than you are, you'll still have those restraints on you. Believe it or not, I know that sounds amazing, but it really is. And you can't become what Big Brother Myron calls a free thinker. And when you're not a free thinker, guess what? That's going to be an impediment to you being able to be an effective communicator, right? So we talked about the first practice was to write. The second practice was the mental part of it, the mental part of communicating, which really requires really deep thinking. Like, what do you believe? Like I coined a phrase called beliefonomics. What's in your mind affects your bottom line. In fact, belief is so powerful, it causes people to either do something or not to do something because we do what we believe and not what we say. Can't make this up. If we believe that eating healthy is going to make us healthy and then we don't eat healthy, then we don't believe that eating healthy is going to make us healthy. Sounds a little weird, right? But it's true. Also, people say knowledge is power. I say, no, knowledge is just knowledge. It's only power when you begin to use it. So the written, the mental, and then now it's showtime. Now it's time to actually do the communicating. And so when do you do the communicating? Well, that's all the time. And who are you communicating with? You're communicating with yourself and you're communicating with others. I will make it even broader. When you're in the marketplace, it's the perfect time to practice. You're like, hey, people always say, I'm always communicating with people. Always. Here's a little trick. Here's a little tip if you want to break the ice with people. This is all you have to do. If it's a group, people say, hey, beautiful people, how y'all doing? And they just laugh and they smile like, oh, man. Or you say, you know what? They said, this is where all the smart people are hanging out at. Most times people just smile and they laugh, right? Or they'll say, we'll have a common greeting. So how are you doing today? I said, I'm doing well, but I'm doing better now that I see you. And they just smile, right? I know these are little simple things when it comes to becoming a better communicator. And it's really practice. Practice the written, practice the mental, and then practice the belly to belly. And I promise you, listen, with everything that's in me, I promise you when you come in contact with people, when they leave, they'll say, I've had an encounter with someone. This person dropped some gems, they dropped some bars, they dropped something on me that caused me to stop, pause, pump the brakes, and think about where I am in life. That, my dear friend, is when you know you have become an effective communicator. But I'm going to say something now. You will never master communicating, but you can become a better and highly effective communicator if you just simply practice. So, what is today's takeaway? Well, thank you so much for asking. You, my dear friend, need to master your voice. I know that sounds so weird, right? Because when you communicate, you hear yourself, like you hear yourself audibly. And even when you have silent conversations, you still hear your voice. Like I hear my voice now, but even when I'm communicating silently, when I'm thinking silently, I still hear my voice. And I remember when I first started on this journey about going public with speaking, I was terrified. I was like, but I talk to people all the time in person. What's so challenging about talking to people on a camera that's being broadcast to the world? Well, there you go. That's what's so terrifying about it, right? Like, what are people going to think of me? What are they going to say? I'm like, man, I'm so beyond that right now. I could care less what people think about me, right? Because I understand and know what my purpose is, and understanding and knowing what my purpose is, I've mastered my voice. So remember I was telling you about yesterday that the person that came to my house, the reason that I didn't actually do the show yesterday was because I had to get this thing done yesterday. But there was a person that came before him that actually sold me the thing that was in my house that they were taking out. Hey, James, how you doing, by the way? Just wanted to shout you out. Hopefully we'll do some ventures together in the future. And when I sat down with him on my front porch, he was like, man, you have like a radio voice. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but I really do know what that means. It sounds like a voice that has been honed. It sounds like a voice that is rehearsed. It sounds like clarity. It sounds like certainty. So it doesn't make a difference what the octave is. It's when it comes out, are you speaking with certainty and with authority? That when people hear, they're like, man, I believe you. And that's when you know you've really kind of mastered this thing called communicating. And I promise you'll get better. But I remember when I first started on this journey of like publicly speaking, I was very, very nervous. And I was very self-conscious. I was self-conscious, not maybe even so much about people thought about me, but how my voice sounded. Now, when I finish this show right here, literally, I'm going to go inside of my platform. I'm not kidding. I'm going to go and download this, and I'm going to edit it to take out, kind of the white noise or whatever the case may be, so it sounds clear. But I've learned how to master all types of things when it comes to communicating. And then what is your homework? I'm glad you asked that question too. So the homework is record your epic ending and share it with 5 people. Now, I've shared my epic ending many times on the show. So if you want to really know, it's actually it's one of our episodes. It's called Epic Ending. So go and check it out. And this is before I started doing a sneak peek and started doing a live. So go check it out. It's probably only in audio form. I might one day do it like in video form, so you all can actually learn, what is your epic ending or whatever the case may be. Yeah, you definitely want to check that out. So what did we talk about today? Well, we talked about 3 ways to become a more effective communicator. And I said it's 3 things: practice, practice, practice. First, we want to practice that written. We want to practice that mental. And then we want to practice that belly to belly. And I promise you will get better. And just a little golden nugget. Facts tell, stories sell. Like, facts are kind of like analytics, right? Although analytics do tell a story, just like numbers tell a story. But a story tells a story, man. And people can see themselves in it. And when they see themselves in it, man, it's so powerful because it moves them to take action, right? Not the action that you want them to take, but it moves them to take action. So as always, tell anyone suffering from slow money blues to tune in each Tuesday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Follow, like, and share Slow Money Blues on social media. And join our private Facebook group and get all them goodies that you know that you need, want, and deserve. Until next time, I want you to continue to build, launch, and grow your own personal freedom success as a system. And I won't see you at the top, but I will see you over the top. Hey, listen, if you stuck around for the entire show, what I want you to do is I want you to give yourself a big old cheer. Then I want you to give yourself a round of applause. And because life sometimes can be very, very serious, it's okay to laugh at yourself. My name is Doug, retired U.S. Marine, 2-time combat veteran turned entrepreneur, and I will see you next Tuesday. Bye.